You are now entering the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. We in the building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Found out I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, this is your divine moon goddess. And in the morning show, I don't know where I'm at this morning, but Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. I am your host, Divine Moon Goddess, and it feels like it's been a minute since I've had this live show. I know over the weekend it's always like, oh, what happened? Trying to get a schedule together. So this is a live show. Good morning. So, how is everybody doing? We are into the second week of January. Anybody start doing their to-do lists for the year yet? Anybody start tackling that New Year's resolution that everybody decides to make, right? Good morning. Um, I think some of the beauties of New Year, New Me is seeing just how old you are when it comes to really putting action behind those words. Like I haven't been to the gym um, because I've just been kind of staying away from the gym just because I haven't been at my good morning, boo. I haven't seen you in forever. I haven't gone to the gym just trying to stay away because I haven't been up to my full energy just yet. I was like, why did my phone look broke? But I'm pretty sure it's packed with people right now with their New Year's resolution. It's like, did anybody start their list? Did anybody start that list and say, all right, we're gonna tackle this shit, we're gonna hit this shit, we're gonna knock this out. The only thing that I've done so far is truly organize my house. That's like the only thing I've done so far is like seriously organize my whole entire place. I think I have like one cabinet in my kitchen that I still need to go through, but that's about it. Happy Grand Rising, boo. So today's show I'm going to be talking about um, what is my damn content today? um, when you find your voice and you're spiritual. A lot of times when we're coming up, a lot of us come from backgrounds of where your voice was silenced, right? Somewhere along the line, you went through this moment of either your parents silencing you because you had to be quiet, or you went through this moment as a child not being able to voice yourself or say how you feel, or you were the weird one, or you were the one who was out there with your ideas and people made fun of you. And so you came to this point of just not saying anything anymore, right? You just kept it in, and then you just tried to be what people call was normal, right? We just try to be normal. And so when you find that voice, right? When you finally find that voice and you start speaking up, now you got to go through a whole other shitstorm of people coming at you with more shit, right? And it's like no matter what you do, you have more people trying to silence you, even coming into this spiritual path. One of the things I always kind of warn people is that you will have people coming to silence you. You will have lower energies coming to silence you, right? And so it's once you find that authentic voice, not to say we all know who we are, because I think in this path we have to grow and we have to change and we have these lessons that we have to work through and understand, right? Um, Good morning, Evelyn. All right, boo. I will look after the live. I haven't touched my box just yet. It's too early for that. So, when you're working through all of this, we have to grow. There's no ascension without growth, right? If you walk into this spiritual path and you just all knowing, there's no fucking growth. There's no experience, right? So you have to find that experience. And while you're going through this, you find your voice. You find that authentic voice inside you that's been screaming, right? Whether it's the childhood version of you that's been screaming or it's the adult version of you that's been screaming, that part of you starts to scream. That part of you starts to say, hey, I'm here. I have a voice now. So, one of the things is that people start to try your patience, right? Try to try your patience, whether it is demean you, right? Whether it is to make you feel stupid, right? You don't know what you know, right? Grand Rising Boo. Um, Somehow you're not as gifted as you think you are, right? Because you're already coming off standing in your power in some sort. Oh, somebody is now um I'm not going to use the words jealous because we're not talking about jealous, right? Good morning, Hope. We're not talking about jealous. We're talking about when someone is fearful. Your presence has now become fear in someone else, right? So now they're going to start projecting their fears onto you to silence your voice. Some people don't do it intentionally. Some people don't know that they're doing it. Some people have been doing this and they have this done to them, so they don't realize that's what they're doing, trying to silence someone else. Um, some people just have that knack for um, fear. So that fear gets, sent on others. Yeah, I do feel a lot of it is jealousy. And then people just, coming into the spiritual path, you're opening up your beautiful birthright gifts, right? You're opening up all these senses and you're opening up the ability to speak to angels or guides or ancestors, right? Or past loved ones. And then some people are like, what makes you special? Right? And you're just like, well, damn, I can't be special. Damn, I can't be special. So I feel like you have to learn how to use your voice and to keep it despite who's coming at you, despite who's telling you you're not shit, despite who's looking at you like you're not as special as you think you are. No, you got to hold on. You got to hold on to it and not let anyone take that from you, right? Oh yeah, definitely. There's always going to be someone, and I have met a lot of people on this path who always try to throw a wrench in what I'm doing. And they succeed. A lot of times they succeed. Not personally with me, because I ain't fallen, right? But connections with others, shit like that, drama, and it's just like, why? Like I don't get it. I really don't understand it. I just want you guys to not even try to understand it anymore though, right? Don't even try to understand it. Just allow yourself to remember, I will not lose my voice. I will not lose the authentic person that I have strived to get to. Um, I will not lose this beautiful part of me that's been growing and birthing every day on this path, right? And allow yourself the time and energy to keep growing, to keep moving, to keep speaking, to keep doing the beautiful things that you're doing, however you decide to do it, right? Because this path is endless. Not everybody got to come and be a fucking tarot reader or a medium or a psychic. Not everybody has to do this. Spiritual path is vast and wide. You can be spiritual in any type of career or business, you know, it's crazy because a lot of things I do today, I've been doing my whole fucking life, just in a different way, just in a different fashion, just in a different form. Um, so, There is a part that changes in you though, because before, if you had like an attitude or popped off, right? When you start getting into this spiritual mojo of loving, compassion, and understanding, because those are parts of it, is to understand that I may not understand you, right? But I'm going to try to understand you. I'm going to try to show compassion in this moment. Um, Not to say that that's always going to work. Some people will push you to that moment, but you have to stop and ask yourself, is this situation worth my time? Is this situation worth me losing my shit? Because remember, at the end of the day, your voice, your power, the second you start to give it away, the second you start to fall into lower energies of arguments, bullshit, whatever, trying to prove who you are to anybody, that's when you step into your ego, all ego based. That's not higher level. That's not higher vibration, right? That's not, staying authentic to yourself. Now you're trying to prove yourself. And I've gone through many moments in my path where I felt like I needed to prove myself, right? Because if I don't prove myself, then who's going to believe me? Then it's like, why the fuck? Who cares if they believe me? Who cares who don't fucking think I'm gifted? I know the people that I've worked with. I know the people that I've channeled. I know the people who have told me, I have a lot of reviews and recommendations from people of who I've touched and helped. So as you're going along in your path, you start to little by little let go of other people's judgment. You start to let go other people's, projections. You start to let go other people's looking at you in a certain way and defining who you are in others. You keep letting that go little by little, little by little. And I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Shit. We wish. Um, but over time, you get to this point where when something happens, instead of you just going off, right? You take a moment, you take that pause. Is this worth my time and energy? And that's also using your spiritual voice. You don't have to use your spiritual voice. You don't have to use that voice at all. It's up to you. Should you want to? Do you need to? You don't have to. You can just be like, yeah, they're not worth my time and energy, right? Yeah, we know. I think I'll do a whole show on energy vampires, T. I think I'll do a whole show. Good morning, Trina, of just energy vampires. You know what? It's not about that you can't open it, Evelyn. It's that most of the time in the beginning, you're trying too hard. Good morning, Nanette. One of the biggest things of mediumship is that spirit past level and speak to us in a very subtle way. Most people are trying too hard. Most people want that fireworks shift and you want that ghost to just pop up in front of you. And it doesn't happen that way. Over time, in practice, little by little, it gets stronger as you stop overthinking the process. The biggest thing is you have to stop overthinking the process in that, okay? And we'll kind of talk about that more. Um, I am. I'm definitely gonna do a whole energy vampire fucking. I like to try to keep these shows like based on one particular theme, so we can kind of work through that. Because I think a lot of times we have these kind of terms in our head of what we think things are, and then there's this whole other kind of like broad category, should I say, on a lot of this stuff. But going back to your voice, so if you have not found your voice yet, let's say you haven't found it. You're like, you know what? I really haven't found my voice. I still don't speak up for myself. I still don't speak up for others. Um I still don't express myself when I know that I should. That's okay. That's okay. You have to work through this. You have to get there, right? You have to get to that point where you're like, okay. Good morning, Jasmine. It's just like thank you, boo. Trying to look all business like this morning. Um, think of your spiritual gifts as Any talent. I say this to everyone. It's like the person who can sing. There's some people that just have this natural, beautiful voice, right? And people are like, oh my God, and you were born with this. And that's not to say that someone else who can't take teaching, singing lessons and perfect their voice, right? Some people have been singing through multiple lifetimes. So they just naturally can sing in this lifetime because they've been doing it for so long. In their essence, it just comes natural to them. Someone who's just a natural baseball player, right? Who's just so gifted at this, where the other person has to go to practice and they got to work and they got to drills and they got to, or the basketball player, where someone else is just more natural. It comes effortlessly. Okay. It's not to say that you can't get it, it's that you got to put in the work. Everybody just wants to sit and be like, I'm here, bless me. And spirit's like, yeah, you need to put in the work. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a part of that voice. I had a very closed throat chakra. I would say a lot of things in pretty much was honest person and told you how I felt. But there were a lot of things about myself and sharing myself with others that I wouldn't. I would hold back, or I wouldn't say, um, or I wouldn't fight for myself. I would just kind of, turn the other cheek. And so there's two parts of me. You're either going to get the nice, bubbly, loving side, which I am most of the time. But there are moments where I'm a clap back. I don't, there's this kind of like thing that says because you're spiritual, all of a sudden you can't say certain things. All of a sudden you're spiritual and now you just have to take people's bullshit. No. No, you don't. There's nothing there's no testament that says, oh, now I'm spiritual, I'm elevated, now I get to just sit here and take somebody's shit. No. The only difference that I see is at this point, I just choose what's worth my time. And sometimes it's worth it for me to fucking say what I need to say, right? Yeah, yeah. A lot of people go through that because it's just no one's going to hear me anyway, right? There's something inside that just shuts down because it's like no one's going to listen anyway. Why even say anything, right? Oh yeah. Um, One thing, I've never really been a doormat, but I used to be someone who tried to keep the peace to the cost of hurting myself and to the cost of pushing down what I really needed to express in the moment to keep the peace. And what I've learned over these past couple years in this kind of spiritual path of mine is that sometimes peace is speaking up. Sometimes you need to say something. Sometimes you need to fight. Sometimes you need to stand your ground. It's not that just, oh, I'm higher vibrational, so I never get mad. Get the fuck out of here. You're still human. You're still going to get pissed. You're still going to go through moments where you're just like, what the fuck, right? There's going to be moments where you lose your shit. It's all about in that moment when you're analyzing the situation that you make the determination, is this something that needs my attention, or is this something that I'm going to ignore, right? That's the only difference. And I don't think you should ever feel like, oh, I'm spiritual, I can't say this. Because if you feel like you need to say something, say it. You most likely do. If you need to cry, boo, cry. Oh, and that's one of the first signs when you stand your ground and you're just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick up for me, right? And then that person turns into the victim and it's like poor them. That's when you have to remember and see that, like, oh no, this person is still a victim. I can't deal with this. Like, okay, you go over there and be a victim, and I'll sit over here. And when you grow the fuck up and see what you've done wrong in this situation, maybe we can have a conversation. And so there's nothing bad with saying that, though. There's nothing bad with calling somebody out, but there's a way to say it, right? You don't got to be shitty. You don't got to be demeaning. You don't got to like tear somebody down, but you can simply say, you're a victim. Okay. And I'll be over here. And when you want to have that mature conversation, we can have it. One of my things is I feel like as adults, especially, we should be able to have a conversation. And if we can't have a conversation, then we don't need to talk, because I don't argue with anybody. That's one thing I don't do in life. I'm not arguing with anyone. I'm not fighting with no one. I'll say my piece and we can have a conversation, but I ain't arguing. That's not going to happen, because that disturbs my peace. Bringing that anger and fighting and going back and forth, yeah, that disturbs my peace. I don't do that. Won't do it. Not for anybody. Exactly. You will keep overplaying, or not overplaying, but replaying that, right? So if something happens and you don't say what you need to say and you don't clear that, you will replay that moment all day long, right? All day long, you keep thinking about what you should have said. Damn, I should have said this. Or what if it would have went? You start replaying it. And now you've kind of thought of all the different ways you could have stuck up for yourself. Then it's too late. You didn't, right? Right, Brenda, right. You live and you learn. Good morning, K Plugs. Right, right, right. I really do feel like people really just don't know how to communicate. I really feel like that's one of the top things. There's a lot of people who think they're great communicators, and it's like, no, you're not. You actually communicate in a very immature way. And I had to learn this about myself too. I'm not just talking shit about others. I had to learn this about myself. Like, no, you actually fucking communicate very ineffectively. This is not communication, right? So it's something that I don't think a lot of us are taught how to properly communicate and have a discussion of what's going on, right? Especially in my household, all they did was argue and scream. Like, that was the communication. And that's what you pick up on. So then that's your form of communication. Either it's like none to screaming match. Right. I think if you're going to have a conversation, right? When you're using your voice, it's not just to say what you need to say and walk away, right? Effective communication also has listening. And a lot of people forget that part. I want to say what I want to say, but I don't want to sit and listen to what you got to say because I'm right. That's where you need to check yourself. Like, okay, I said what I said, but this other person has their perspective of the situation. You got to give that person a moment to say what they need to say. And you two may not ever agree. And then you just have to agree to disagree. You know, what can you do? But one thing I don't do is disrespect. I don't do it. I had a best friend over 20 years. And the second it got to where she decided to threaten me in a moment of her anger, we were done. And that was over 10 years ago. I don't do disrespect. I don't do threatening. I feel like if you come to the point of you feel like you need to threaten me in any way, shape, or form, we were never family to begin with, because I don't do shit like that. I have respect for people. I give you respect. I'll hear you out, but I will also say my piece at the same time. But as soon as you get to that disrespectful moment, oh, we're done. I don't fuck with you after that. I'm good. I keep walking. And that's one thing I've been good in my life to do, is cut people off, because I just won't do it. I went through my mom. I had a mom who was just very verbally abusive with her words at times. And she would pick fights all the time in her moments of needing to fight with someone. And I was one of those kids that she just happened to always have some issue with. And so as I was getting older, I just was like, no, I'm not taking this shit from no one. And then there was eventually a time where I was just like, I'm not taking it from my mom either. And it was just like, no, mom, we're done. And I think I was at the end of my late 20s now. I talk to my mom now. We're good. We've healed a lot of shit. But I think I was in my late 20s when I was just like, no, no more. And I stopped talking to my mom, cut her out of my life, you know? But I do think, it's not just expression. You got to listen also, right? And you got to be able to use your voice in a way where, again, you're not demeaning anyone. You're not down talking them. You're not trying to make them feel like shit when you're using your voice. Using your voice is just expressing your authentic version or your authentic self. We all have a version of what's going on. I have my own perception. You have your own perception. And then there's like the creator's view. So there's always multiple. And then there's like the stand buyer, right? Or the stand buyer. Is it the standby person who also sees it from a different perspective? So you have multiple people who kind of witness this in their own view, in their own eyes. No one's ever going to see it exactly the same. And if you can kind of understand that, then you're not going to be sitting here trying to argue with someone to believe you. You're not going to argue with them for them to get your point, right? You're going to understand that they're never going to see it through your eyes. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get what's in your mind out in words, and finding the right words to use, right? Right, right. I don't think you should ever have a conversation where it gets disrespectful and where it gets to where you are calling each other names or threatening each other or anything like that. I think once you get there, I don't feel like you can come back from that. Honestly, I don't feel like you can come back from that. I just feel like someone who feels like they need to threaten someone or disrespect somebody in that way, you got some shit you need to heal and fix. Right. I do offer private sessions, boo. In the description somewhere is my website. Right. You can't force anybody else to see something, right? And remember, when you're opening up on your spiritual path, you get to a point of realizing that it's not about getting anybody to see anything. This path is for you, not them. So you're no longer trying to get anybody to see shit. You're no longer trying to prove that you're right. You're no longer trying to prove what you need to. You're just doing your thing. And as you do your thing, you come across like-minded people. That's the difference. So you don't ever have to close your voice or shut your voice down, but you damn sure don't need to argue anymore either, because you don't need to prove shit. You've gone through a lot of your lifetime trying to prove that you weren't crazy, trying to prove that I do matter in this fucking life, trying to prove I am worthy of love, or I'm worthy of this, or I'm worthy of that, right? I do think people will try to take your uh quietness for weakness, though. There's a lot of people like that, right? And because you're not someone who just I'ma lose my shit and go fight, right? A lot of people take that as, oh, you're weak. And it's like, no, you know how much strength it takes me not to beat the shit out of you? Especially when I was younger. Me now, I'm a different person. But when I was younger, I'd be like, if you knew what was going on in my head right now, if you knew, I feel like people take that as weakness. But me, I look at it as someone who can hold their composure when you just want to beat the shit out of somebody. That's more will and strength than the person who's just lashing out trying to fight. Because the person who's just jumping to fight is someone who has no willpower at all. because all you're doing is jumping on the first thing and letting those emotions get the best of you. Now your emotions control you. Now in the moment, now you're like, oh shit, I fucked up. I'm sorry. No, you're not. No, you're not. You didn't even think about it. So it takes more strength. And I use this where my daughter was living in Colorado, and my grandsons are like in second grade, right? And the little badass kids in Colorado, man, make me want to take a fucking plane and go beat them. I'm just gonna say it. Little badass kids up there. But these little boys were like hitting my grandsons and choking them out and stuff. And my daughter would be like, but he's not fighting back. And I would just say, you know how much it has to take him not to fight back because he doesn't want to get in trouble. You know how much strength he's using not to fucking go off on this kid in class? It's not that he's weak. It's not that he's scary. It's because he's holding back on something that he knows if he goes forward, there's going to be consequences. That is true strength. And we had to kind of work through that because it's just like, no, the people who just jump and do stupid shit are the people with no willpower, right? Your strength comes in how you react in every situation that you're put in. You have in the moment, you have the power. When you choose to give it away, then that's your choice. You're choosing to give it away, right? Right. I think can definitely have conversations with respect. You definitely can have conversations where someone can have a different point of view, right? And you still show each other respect. Just don't lose your voice. So, like I said, the whole purpose is like, don't lose your voice. Don't feel like you have to not say anything. Choose your words wisely. Yes. Think about something before you respond. There will be moments where you'll be like, fuck, I should have said this. There will be moments you're like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But you learn and you keep learning and you keep moving forward and you keep growing, right? Yeah. These kids are crazy. You know what? And I'm not going to say like, oh my God, the times have changed, because let me tell you, when I was a kid, there was kids trying to bully when I was a kid. Okay. I always had some little fucker fucking with me. Like, leave me the fuck alone. And I was not a child who just fought all the time. So when I did fight, and it's crazy because I got known of being this fighter, and it was like, if y'all know, I don't like to fight. I'm not out here wanting to fight. Um, but I would not fight. You had to like really push me to this place to where I would, because I am a very kind and gentle soul. I'm very loving before anything. You have to really, really, really push me to a certain place for violence. That doesn't come natural for me. Violence is a natural kind of like, reaction for me. It just isn't. Right, right. They know that they can defend themselves, but they choose not to hit back. And I just have to respect that. We don't call them any names for it. We're not threatening them because they don't defend themselves. They choose not to hit back. And I just have to be like, okay, this is your choice. You know, just don't, let it happen multiple times. Try to make sure that you keep like getting that moment to stand up for yourself. It's all we can do. I'm gonna teach them like, yeah, beat the shit out of everyone. And if you don't, I'm gonna fuck you up. Cause that's the shit we got told. If you don't fight back, you're gonna get your ass whipped at home. Oh wow. The uncle baby mama. I don't think it's drama to be like, okay, Can you address me a certain way? You're just kind of setting the tone. Like, I would prefer to be addressed like this, not as the baby mama, right? Like, don't refer to me as the baby mama. And so you got to remember, the person who thinks you're drama is the person who thinks you're a baby mama. And so the level of if they give a shit is already there, right? They didn't give a shit when they first called you baby mama. They didn't. That's why they called you baby mama. So to think that they're going to give a shit that you have a problem with it is like, yeah, no. But as long as you said what you had to say, all right, I didn't agree with that. You think I'm drama? Okay, we'll leave it at that, right? Of course, of course. Right. It takes it, love is that ultimate healing. Love is that ultimate power. When you think about your creator energy, whether it's God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whoever, when you think about that energy, it is pure love. That is the highest vibration. It's not anger, it's not violence, you know, it's not hate, none of that. All of that is lower level fucking bullshit. So when you've always had that, because that's something I've always just intuitively known in my heart space, right? And when you have that, when you're moving along, society will sometimes reshape you, right? Depending on where you live, depending on what you're going through, society will kind of like, push you, oppress you in certain ways. But you don't have to follow that. You don't have to follow what society is trying to push you to be. You don't have to become that. That's where you keep going to your true voice, that true voice inside, that authentic version of self. You keep going to pull that part about out and stay in that heart space. Because if you stay in that heart space, you won't want to, you're not going to always be picking a fight, and you're not going to care to prove yourself anymore. You just get to a point where it's just like, I'm going to just be over here doing my thing. That's enough. There's no proof needed. I am the proof. I'm just living proof, right? There's no proof of anything. My voice, I'm living proof. But also don't feel like you can't stand up for yourself. You're not like, oh, I'm a reborn Christian now. I can't whoop your ass. I will still defend myself. And at the end of the day, if I had to choose my life over somebody else's in a fucking, situation, I'm still going to choose my life. Like, let's be real. Like, that didn't change because now I'm fucking spiritual. Let's not be too crazy. That didn't change. I'm still going to fucking survive. Right. So I think there's all of these like misconceptions in spirituality that like all of a sudden you're this weak person, or all of a sudden you're this, you can't say that. Like, when people see me like cussing, and it's like, it's a fucking curse word. What sin is that? It's words. Like, who cares? What does that matter? Why do you give a shit? Why are you on my live? If it really makes that much of a difference, why are you here? So it's just like, yeah, bye. Now I just kind of, send everybody love and laugh about it. There was a time where I used to get irritated. And if you've watched me long enough, you know the difference in my energy. Where when someone used to jump on my live and they would say some crazy shit, right? And it would just be like, why the fuck are you on here? Like, I would get irritated. And now I just be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Love you too. Sorry you feel this way. Right, 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 right. But you're a Pisces, right, Shondell? I think a lot of Pisces energy is in that thought space before, that before it comes out. And of course, there's other things in your chart that kind of influence that. I'm not going to say all Pisces are quiet, because there's some that are quiet but then act out. I've seen a couple, but for the most part, the Pisces energy is that very in their head. Not that nothing's going on. There's a lot going on in there. But it's like not coming out, trying to find them words. So it makes sense when you said that earlier, trying to find the right words to say certain things, right? I think it's better to think before you act anyway. Because again, if all you do is act, 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 we have these primal urges as a human, that jealousy, envy, all of that shit, anger, right? All of that shit plays a big part. Even if you're a person that's like, no, I'm not a person who stays jealous. Anybody who says that they don't or never feel jealousy is a lie. Okay. Everyone goes through moments in their life when they've looked at somebody else's life and they've been like, damn, why can't I have that? Or damn, why does that person have that? Why is that person blessed? Or somehow you thought in that moment you weren't blessed enough, right? So again, everybody has gone through moments in their life when they have felt jealousy. I'm especially as a kid, I'd be like, damn, why is that person got them shoes? Why doesn't my family have these shoes? There's a lot of moments. Just like there's moments of envy. You will. It's don't stay in that energy. These are primal instincts, primal urges that we have. The biggest thing is to understand not to stay there, not to stay in that energy of hurt, not to stay in that energy that you're lacking, not to stay in that energy that somehow you're not blessed like the other person. Somehow this person has more than you in some way, shape, or form. How many people who are single looking at married people or people in couples and like, I wish I had that. That's a form of envy and jealousy. Not that you're not trying to be envious of these people, but in this moment, you're feeling a certain way, which is okay. That's the biggest thing about shadow work. And I keep saying we need to do a morning show about shadow work. And I think we'll do that soon. Um, that's the biggest thing about shadow work is coming to love the darker side of you, the darker nature. And the darker nature of us sometimes does get into those very shitty moments. Not that we want to, but sometimes our life is not going the way we want it to. Sometimes our life is not, where it needs to be. And then you come across someone who's got their shit together or they're at the level you want to be. And in that moment, it's like, damn, I want to get there. But you don't have to do it in a shitty way, right? You don't have to do it in a mean way. You definitely don't have to stay there. So, I think we're going to do one also on authenticity because in this path, you do find the real you, the real version of you. And sometimes people don't want to admit that they're shitty. Some people are like, no, because everyone thinks that there's this huge growth and you become this new reborn person. No, you're the same fucking person you were before. So all your shitty behavior just comes over here. All your shittiness. Whether it's like if you like to gossip, if you like to talk shit about people, if you like to point out their flaws, you're going to still do it in the spiritual community, just different, right? So it's understanding these things and knocking these things down and also loving yourself, even when you're like, shit, okay, I'm in this moment. I'm feeling this way. Let me get out of this. Let me get out of this energy. Let me not stay in this energy. Okay. So it's just like these pointers of awareness. And I always talk about awareness because awareness is what's going to really help you in your path. Oh, you being aware of self, not aware of everybody else and pointing out everybody else's flaws. Like that's not awareness. That's just you on your high horse saying, oh, I'm more elevated. I'm more spiritual. I'm more awakened than you sleep fuckers over there. Right. So now you have to understand it's like, okay, it's not that I'm better than anybody. Let me be aware of myself. Let me be aware of what I do in these moments. What do I do in these conversations? How do I react to certain things? That's the awareness. You becoming aware of self. Good morning, boo. So most of you lost your voice already, right? Somewhere in your life, you already lost your voice. And now it's okay. One, how do I find my voice? And as you're finding your voice, how do you not lose it again? You got to stay true to self. And again, using your voice, you'll not use it in a way to demean others. You're not going to use it in a way to cast that judgment. And when I say that, we're all judgy people. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You're Every one of us have moments of judging somebody's situation, judging something that someone's going through. We always have a fucking opinion about everything. There's not one person who doesn't have a fucking opinion, even if they don't say it. In their mind, they're thinking it, right? That's where you just have to make the decision. Like, yeah, I don't need to say shit. It's not my life. Ain't got shit to do with me. I don't give a fuck what you do. And just kind of leave it, right? But you finding your voice, it's crazy. It was 4444 and it's 10:44 on my clock. Oh, um, finding your voice is staying true to what you know to be true, your truth, and expressing yourself. How does that come out? Expression in the most loving way possible. Remember that. In the most loving way possible, first to self. Because one of the biggest things you have to learn is to love self, to stand up for self, to inspire self. Everything is about you. We get so lost on everybody else, right? And so Spirit's like, no, this is all about you at the end of the day. But expression is huge. So whether you decide to express yourself through words or not, your voice is still there. Okay. And just hold on to that and don't let that go and don't lose it. Keep saying how you feel in a loving way, but also in an authoritative way. Like, this is what I feel. Let's agree to disagree. Not like, nah, fuck you. You don't believe what I believe. Ugh, I don't want to talk to you no more. No, you don't got to do all that. Right. But I will say that if someone is coming at you in a certain way, stand your ground. Yes. You don't have to lose your voice because, oh, I'm spiritual now. Nah, no. You might get me on the right day and I'm like, okay, I ain't going nowhere. I'm definitely one of those people who like to debate. So if you catch me on the right day, I will debate hours with your ass in a very loving, compassionate, respectful way. Like, let's get it. Let's get it. My daughter would always call it arguing. And I would be like, I'm not arguing. Especially like me and my brother. Me and my brother could debate all day long. We don't argue. It's fucking debate, going back and forth about different things, still in a respectful way, and that's where you hold on to your voice. You don't got to change what you believe. Keep saying what you believe. Keep saying how you feel, no matter how it comes, not no matter how it comes out, but keep saying that. So in this, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to learn, grow, be, keep trying to find your voice and hold on to that voice and hold your power. Your power is whether or not to even speak. Your power is whether or not to even use your voice. You don't have to. You could simply be like, yeah, it's not worth it. Because some people ain't worth my voice. Some people aren't worth my time. And I make the decision very quickly of, is this person worth me even saying anything at this point? And if I really look at it, like I said, because I'm very compassionate, very loving, and I want to help everybody. But if I look at a situation and I'm like, nope, this person doesn't deserve any more of my time, I'm done. Nope. Not with hate, not with I'm angry at you, not with fuck you, go die. Because remember, if you're still ill wishing, you're ill wishing. So even if you're talking to someone or mad at someone, if you're hoping some shit happens to them, you're ill wishing. So you got to learn how to disconnect with love, right? Because there was a time I used to be like, I hope that motherfucker gets their karma. Man, I hope karma comes. But then you learn, like, that's still horrible. Okay. You're still wishing someone. Their karma's going to come regardless. You don't have to wish it to come faster. You don't have to do anything but release and walk away. Right. Right. You don't have to be on the defense. Like I said, your voice, the biggest thing people think using their voice is like you always have to say something, or you always have to prove, or you always have to like have that. No, you don't. That's the power of it. Your voice, you could pick and choose when you want. Not everything deserves or needs a kickback. Not everything deserves or needs for you to say anything. You know? All right, I'll be over here. So that's basically what I got for you guys in the morning. I'm going to do the horoscope right now. Let's see what your day is going to be, the energy of today. Remember, this is Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. I am your host, Divine Moon Goddess. This is brought to you by Divine Moon Goddess Healers and Readings.com, where all your questions get answered. Remember, for the month of January, you can book in-depth reading and get 15% off using the code Ascension22, which is somewhere in the box description. I don't freaking know where it's at. It's somewhere. I have a lot of sinus stuff going on, and everyone's like, you got the Rona? No, I don't believe in it. It's not my life. That's not reality. But I told you guys this couple of weeks, 2 weeks now, I've been going through this purge. And I'm telling you guys, when I purge, it comes through the physical body. And when we all purge, it has to come out somewhere, because the energy has to come out. Energy just doesn't dissipate. We would like it to, where it just goes back into the ethers. But no, it fucking has to come out. So literally my stomach, my sinus, and throat area is like, okay. So, and then there's a thing called allergies. Some of us still have normal shit. Some of us have stuff like allergies, regular shit. And you gotta realize, where's the sinus located? Just let's put some spiritual shit on here, right? Where's the sinus? Here. What's right here in the spiritual? What's right here, y'all? What's there? Your third eye. Ooh. So that third eye is being cleansed, right? And so for me, everything that happens for me, especially in a health manner or physical body, I know that there is an upgrade coming along with it. And so voice, we're talking about voice today, where my voice is a little scratchy. And each time I authenticate my voice, and each time I stand in my power and choose to do something else, like this morning show, to use my voice, I go through these spiritual upgrades, because I am not just sitting in my path, I'm pushing forward. And so there's this, no matter what anyone says, I'm still going to be true to what I believe in, my belief systems. And that's all I can do. Stay here in my seat and do what I do. Yeah, some of us have allergies though. But if you look at the kind of, if you look at it, I look at everything with the spiritual tone, because I'm in a spiritual path. So everything that I do has in it the both material and the physical, or should I say physical and spiritual world together, right? There's a balance. So for me, everything is in balance. And so every year I go through this spiritual shift. Every year it's like an upgrade to the next level. Every year that I've noticed, I've gone through this, and it's just like, okay. At first I'm all like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like, all right, I understand now. It can be, the gut is one of the main places of an empath. Okay. Your gut and empathic abilities hits your stomach, emotions, you know what I mean? Fears, guilt, shame, all of that is in the belly area. Okay. Your laziness, whether or not you're lazy or not, there's a lot of things that hit that belly area. You have the sacral, which is the lower part, and then you have the solar plexus, which is the upper part of it, right? So when you're looking at both of those, where your solar plexus is like the fire energy, your sacral is the water energy. So you got fire and water there being effective on element basis. So there's a lot of different reasons. I'm not a physician, so I'm not gonna say your constipation is just spiritual. You need to do whatever you need to do. But I will tell you the biggest, especially in the spiritual side of things, the biggest things with the gut is how you're soaking in energy, how you're soaking in emotions, how you're processing. Are you releasing? What your spiritual practices are? I've always had stomach issues. Always. I'm very gifted. So I'm an empath. It hits my gut more than anything. Um, and even with all of the techniques I do, I still go through moments where I have to purge, and I go through the stuff with the gut. So just remember that you also have to start to change the way you eat. You also have to change some of the shitty things you put in your body also. Everything coincides. Your diet, your activity level, your spiritual level, your physical level, it's all together, and it has to be in balance. And I know, like, for me, I get imbalanced. I do. I get busy. I get too caught up in what I'm doing. I forget what I need to do. And I will never sit up here and be like, oh, I'm so perfect and everything's aligned all the fucking time. Yeah, no. I forget shit all the time. Like, what the fuck was I supposed to do? And damn, I haven't been to the gym in a week. And damn, when's the last time I had a vegetable? When's the last time I had some salad? Like, let's be real, life gets crazy, so to sit and be like, oh, I'm all so perfect. No, it gets hard sometimes. It's the day-to-day fight to find that normalcy, find that balance. And so when my body starts to talk to me, because your body will talk to you, and that's when you have to be like, oh, okay, I see. I kind of neglected some shit this past couple months, right? And so now I'm in the effects. So it's a purge. It's a simple purge. You know, I don't fuck with all that other shit, y'all. The Rona, it's not in my reality.